The jungle canopy trembles beneath iron wings. Somewhere over the Pacific, 1942, a machine prowls the sky that defies everything the war planners expected. The British called it a mistake. American pilots whispered its nickname in the ready rooms, the Flying Coffin. But in the chaos of Guadalcanal, where the rulebook burned with everything else, this predator found its hunting ground. Picture this. You are strapped into a cockpit where the engine breathes behind your spine, not in front of your eyes. Where a massive cannon sits in the nose like the fang of a prehistoric beast. Every control input is a negotiation, every turn a gamble. The center of gravity shifts as you burn ammunition and fuel, and if you spin, you do not recover. You fall. The enemy knows you are coming. They have seen the silhouette, shark-like, low, fast, but they do not fear you until the first strike lands. Then everything changes, because what the P-39 Airacobra lacks in grace, it repays in violence. This is not the story of a hero. This is the story of a weapon misunderstood, misused, and in the right hands, unstoppable. 1939, Bell Aircraft Corporation unveils a fighter unlike any the world has seen, the P-39 Airacobra. On paper, it is genius. The Allison V-1217 engine mounted mid-fuselage behind the pilot, connected to the propeller by a 10-foot drive shaft. This frees the nose for a 37mm M4 cannon, a weapon capable of punching through armor plating. The cockpit doors open like a car. Visibility is magnificent. Speed at low altitude exceptional. But genius has a price. The original XP-39 prototype carried a General Electric turbo supercharger that would allow the engine to maintain power at high altitude where fighters win wars in European skies. Then came the redesign. The Army Air Corps, concerned about weight and developmental delays, ordered the supercharger removed in 1940. The P-39 became a low-altitude fighter in an era demanding high-altitude dominance. The British ordered 675 aircraft under the Airacobra Mark I designation in 1940. They tested it in combat over France and the Channel, complete mismatch. Above 12,000 feet, the Airacobra gasped for air, while German Bf-109s climbed circles around it. The RAF returned all but 80 aircraft. The Americans inherited the rejection. Thousands of P-39s sat in airfields, unwanted, feared by new pilots who heard the stories about flat spins and the aircraft's unforgiving stall characteristics. But war does not wait for perfection. And in the Pacific, where battles raged below the clouds, where Japanese Zeros hunted at treetop level, the P-39 found a second life not as a noble knight of the sky, but as a close-quarters brawler and ground attack specialist. A machine built for the wrong war that became essential in the right one. The pilot climbs into the cockpit, October 1942, Henderson Field, Guadalcanal. His name is lost to history, one of dozens of Army Air Force's lieutenants rotating through the Cactus Air Force. He is 21 years old, 3 weeks in combat. His first 2 weeks he flew a Grumman F-4F Wildcat on loan from the Marines. Sturdy, reliable, slow. Now he flies the P-39D. He does not trust it yet. The pre-flight is ritual. Check the driveshaft housing for cracks, check the cannon breech, verify the feed mechanism. 30 rounds of 37mm ammunition, each shell weighing 1.34 pounds. 2 synchronized Colt Browning M2 50 caliber machine guns in the nose cowling. 4 Browning M2 30 caliber guns in the wings. On paper, devastating firepower. In practice, the cannon jams if fired in certain G-load conditions. The tracer rounds arc in a pronounced curve, making long-range accuracy nearly impossible. You must be close, very close, to guarantee a hit. He straps in. The Allison engine starts behind him, a growl that vibrates through the seat, through his spine. This is the strangeness pilots never forget. In every other fighter, the engine is ahead. You feel its pull. In the P-39, it pushes. The sensation is backwards, unsettling, like riding a horse that runs in reverse. The tower clears him for takeoff. He opens the throttle. The Airacobra accelerates hard, faster than a Wildcat. The acceleration surprisingly good, thanks to the mid-engine weight distribution. The tail lifts. He is airborne. Wheels up, gear retracting into the clean fuselage, climbing. At 2,000 feet, the engine purrs at 42 inches of manifold pressure. At 5,000, it struggles. At 10,000, it wheezes, starved for oxygen. He stays low. That is the rule the veterans taught him. Never fight high, never chase above 15,000 feet. If you do, the Zeros will dance around you until your fuel runs dry. Intelligence reports enemy barges moving supplies down the slot, the narrow channel between islands where Tokyo Express runs, deliver reinforcements to starving Japanese garrisons. His mission is simple: find them, destroy them. The P-39 is not a precision instrument. It is a hammer, and today, the barges are nails. He flies northeast, skimming the jungle canopy at 300 feet. The Aerocobra's visibility is its greatest gift. 360-degree bubble canopy, car-style doors that provide unobstructed views during turns. He sees everything: the emerald jungle below, the horizon, the clouds. Then movement, smoke, 6 barges hugging the coastline, their engines coughing black exhaust. He arms the cannon. The hydraulic charging system hums. He rolls into a shallow dive. The Japanese barge captain watches the sky because that is all he can do now. For 3 days, his small flotilla has moved supplies under cover of darkness: rice, ammunition, mortar shells, destined for the starving soldiers holding the jungle perimeter. But dawn came too soon. Now they move in daylight, exposed, vulnerable. The captain knows this is a desperate gamble, but orders are orders. The Emperor's soldiers must eat. A lookout shouts, "Aircraft, low, fast." The captain squints into the morning glare. Not the usual Wildcat with its stubby wings. Not a dauntless dive bomber. Something else, sleek, tricycle landing gear visible even at this distance. He does not recognize the type, and that ignorance terrifies him more than familiarity would. The gunners scramble to their Type 92 heavy machine guns, 7.7mm weapons mounted on pintle mounts. Pitiful against an aircraft, but all they have. They track the approaching fighter. 500 meters. 400. The captain sees the pilot now, a shadow behind the greenhouse canopy. Then the nose erupts, not with the familiar staccato of machine gun fire, but with something heavier, slower, more deliberate. A deep concussive thump that carries across the water. The first 37mm shell hits the lead barge amidships. The explosion is catastrophic. The wooden hull disintegrates, fuel drums rupture and ignite. The barge breaks in half. Men leap into the water. The flames follow them. The second barge attempts evasive maneuvers, the helmsman throwing the rudder hard over. Too slow, too late. The P-39 pulls up in a climbing turn, banks hard left, comes around for another pass. The cannon fires twice. Both shells find their mark. The barge erupts in a fountain of splintered wood and seawater. Then the machine guns join in, 50 caliber rounds chewing through the thin hull plating like a saw through bamboo. The captain orders his helmsman to steer for the shallows. Perhaps if they beach the barge, if they reach the tree line, they can survive. But the aircraft follows, relentless, methodical. Another pass. His barge shudders as 30 caliber rounds perforate the engine compartment. Black smoke pours from the stern. The engine dies. They are dead in the water. The captain does not pray. There is no time. He orders his men to abandon ship. The sky does not answer prayers today. The pilot pulls up after the 4th pass, his right hand instinctively checking the ammunition counter. 12 rounds remaining in the cannon magazine. He recounts the barges below. 3 burning, 2 sinking, 1 beached with men scrambling into the jungle. 6 targets engaged. Mission accomplished by any measure. He circles once more at 500 feet. Survivors swim toward shore. He does not strafe them. That is not his war, not his orders. He came for the barges, and the barges are neutralized. The men in the water are the jungle's problem now. Then the radio crackles. Henderson Tower calling. Bogies inbound, bearing 3504 contacts, identified as zeros. Estimated 3 minutes to intercept. His stomach tightens. The P-39 can fight a zero at low altitude if the pilot is skilled, if the ammunition holds, if luck permits. But 4 against 1, those are poor odds in any aircraft. He checks his fuel gauge. Enough for 10 minutes of combat maneuvering, maybe 15, if he is gentle with the throttle. He cannot run. The Mitsubishi A6M0 is faster in level flight above 15,000 feet. He cannot climb. They own the vertical, their Nakajima Sakai engines sipping air efficiently where his Allison chokes. He must stay low, stay fast, and pray the cannon does not jam. He spots them. 4 dark specks against the cumulus buildups to the north. They have altitude advantage, perhaps 8,000 feet. They are diving now, split into two elements, classic zero tactics, slash and separate. He pushes the nose down, accelerating toward the water. Speed is survival. The P-39 screams to 320 knots indicated, the airframe shuddering, the engine roaring behind him. The ocean rushes up, 50 feet below his wheels, 40, 30. The altimeter is almost meaningless now. The Zeros follow, but they hesitate. Fighting this close to the water is madness. One mistake, one overcorrection, and you are swimming or worse. The lead Zero fires from 400 yards out, too far for accuracy. Tracers arc over the P-39's canopy in slow parabolas, close enough to see, too close for comfort. The pilot yanks the stick left. The Airacobra snap rolls, the mid-engine configuration providing excellent roll rate. The Zero overshoots high, committed to its dive angle. Now it is a knife fight, turn and burn, energy management against maneuverability. The P-39 cannot outturn a Zero in sustained turns. Everyone knows this. The Zero can pull tighter circles, bleed less energy. But the pilot does not turn. He reverses. Hard right rudder, aileron opposite, a brutal slicing maneuver that swaps his flight path 90 degrees. The Zero, committed to its pursuit curve, floats into the gun sight for half a heartbeat. He fires. The cannon roars once. The 37mm high-explosive shell strikes the Zero's Sakai engine dead center. The cowling explodes. The propeller disintegrates. Flaming oil sprays back over the canopy. The Zero noses down into the water at 300 knots. No parachute, no time. 3 remain. They learn fast. They do not follow him into the weeds. Instead, they climb, circling above like patient vultures, waiting. The pilot knows their plan. Wait until his fuel runs dry. Wait until he must climb to return to Henderson, then pounce when he is slow and vulnerable. He will not give them that satisfaction. He turns toward the nearest island, Savo, its volcanic peak visible through the haze. If he can reach Henderson's circuit pattern, if the Marine Wildcats are airborne, he might survive. The Zeros shadow him, maintaining altitude, maintaining patience. Then one breaks formation. Impatient or overconfident, it does not matter. The Zero dives from the pilot's 7 o'clock high. He sees it coming in the mirror mounted on his canopy frame. He does not turn into the attack. He turns away, a feint, then reverses again in a snap roll that grays out his vision, the G-forces crushing him into the seat. The Zero fires, misses, overshoots. But now the others are diving, 2-on-1 from different angles. He cannot dodge both. Physics will not allow it. He pulls up, climbing despite every instinct screaming to stay low. The Allison engine labors. The airspeed bleeds from 300 to 280 to 260. He is slow, vulnerable, a target. The Zeros close. He fires the cannon without a clear shot, hoping the muzzle flash will spook them. It works on one. The left-hand Zero breaks off. The right-hand Zero commits. Tracers walk across the P-39's right wing route. Metal tears. Hydraulic fluid sprays in a fine mist. The aileron control stiffens. He is losing the aircraft. Control authority degrading with every second. Then salvation arrives from above. 2 Marine Wildcats diving from the sun, their Pratt & Whitney radials howling. The Zeros scatter, their tactical coordination breaking. The pilot breathes, his hand shaking on the stick. The engine coughs. He smells smoke, not fire yet, but the acrid scent of overheated metal and burning oil. Close enough. Henderson Field appears ahead. He lowers the gear using the manual hand crank, 32 turns to lock the mains. The hydraulics are gone. The nose wheel freefalls and locks. He lines up on the Marston matting runway. The approach is too fast. He has no flaps, no dive brakes. He touches down at 90 knots. The P-39 bounces, skips, slews sideways. He fights the rudder pedals. The aircraft stops 10 feet from the jungle tree line. He unbuckles with trembling fingers, climbs out, his legs rubbery. He sits on the wing. Ground crew runs over. They count the holes. 47. 47 punctures in the fuselage and wings. The plane is shredded, but it flew. It brought him home. The P-39 never returns to combat status. Too damaged, too many structural members compromised. Spare parts are scarce on Guadalcanal, where supply ships are targets, and every rivet counts. The aircraft is cannibalized. Its Allison engine, its machine guns, its instruments are stripped and installed in other Airacobras. The pilot flies again 2 days later. Different tail number, same war. But the story does not end in the Pacific. While American and British pilots curse the Aerocobra's high-altitude limitations, another nation embraces it completely. The Soviet Union receives 4,746 P-39s through Lend-Lease, more than any other fighter type. Soviet pilots fall in love with it. The war on the Eastern Front happens low, tank battles at treetop level, ground support missions, airfield strafing. The P-39's weaknesses vanish. Its strengths shine brilliantly. Alexander Ivanovich Pokrishkin, the second highest scoring Allied ace of the entire war, flies P-39s almost exclusively. 59 confirmed victories, possibly many more. He calls it a masterpiece of engineering. He develops tactical doctrines around its capabilities. Use the speed, use the cannon, stay below 4,000 meters, strike fast, disengage faster. Soviet fighter regiments paint their Aerocobras in winter camouflage, white and gray. They hunt German Stukas, Heinkels, Messerschmitts. They dominate. On Guadalcanal, the P-39 is a stopgap measure, a placeholder until Lightnings and Corsairs arrive. In Russia, it is a legend. Same aircraft, different war, different result. History is context. The British rejected it because they needed high-altitude interceptors to meet Luftwaffe bombers over England. The Americans tolerated it because they had nothing better in the desperate months of 1942. The Soviets adored it because it fit their tactical reality perfectly. By 1944, American production shifts entirely to P-51 Mustangs and P-47 Thunderbolts. The P-39 fades from United States service. But in Soviet skies, it fights until the fall of Berlin in May 1945. Nearly 5,000 Aerocobras delivered to Russia. Soviet pilots paint victory marks on the fuselage. They paint flowers. They paint Guards regiment insignia. They make it theirs. The flying Coffin, the Widowmaker, becomes the people's hero. Not in America, in the frozen steppe, in the snow, in the hands of pilots who did not care about elegance or prestige, only results. War does not care about your intentions. It does not reward the brilliant or punish the flawed. It uses what works, and sometimes what works is ugly. The P-39 Aerocobra was never the fighter Bell aircraft imagined when Larry Bell approved the design in 1937. It was supposed to be a high-altitude interceptor, a technological marvel that would revolutionize air combat. Instead, it became a low-altitude brawler, a ground attack specialist, a weapon that succeeded only when placed in the hands of those who understood its true nature. The Americans saw it as a failure, a fighter that could not compete in the European theater. The British returned it in disgust after losing pilots over France. But the Soviets, they saw potential where others saw problems. They did not ask it to climb, they asked it to strike. They did not demand grace, they demanded devastation. That is the lesson buried in the history books. Not every weapon fits every war. Not every genius survives contact with reality. The P-39 succeeded spectacularly, but only in specific conditions, only when its strengths aligned with the mission requirements. In the end, nearly 10,000 Aerocobras were built between 1940 and 1944. Thousands were lost in combat. Hundreds are preserved in museums from Russia to Arizona. A few still fly at air shows, their Allison engines growling behind the pilot's seat, their cannons empty and harmless. Old men watch them pass. Some remember the jungle, some remember the snow, all remember the sound of a machine that should have failed according to every expert opinion but refused to die. The sound of a weapon that found its war.